Good morning, welcome back. Well, for many of us, retirement seems like it will be a golden time, the reward at the end of a long career. But when the time comes, the kids have left the nest and those work time pressures are stripped away, some struggle to know just what to do with the rest of their life.
For Monique van Tulder, it was a catalyst for reinvention. After 2 decades of motherhood and marriage, she booked a one-way ticket and took a grown-ups gap year. Now Monique is sharing her story to inspire others. And Monique joins us now. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello and good morning.
This is incredible, a grown-up gap year. What led to the decision? How did you do it?
Look, it's a trope, but years of being the default emotional support person for everybody and waking up one day and realising I was at the bottom of my own list and couldn't recognise myself anymore.
And do you mind me asking how old you were when you came to that
Absolutely,
realisation?
54.
54, right?
Yes. So about 3 years ago.
And so
now.
what did you do?
I ran away. There was no thought process behind it. I think when you're pooped, you quite often, sort of make a few squawking sounds and say, I think I need some help. But I booked a one-way ticket to a family home interstate to change some light bulbs, had a hot coffee and thought, normally it's lukewarm dregs. I'm staying.
I'm staying here.
Yeah.
So what did you get out of the experience then? How did it start? What did you get out of it?
Okay, so look, first of all, I looked at my well-being. I looked in the mirror and I thought, you're not the woman that you sort of probably feel like you are on the inside. There's someone waiting to get out there. And so I felt my confidence returning. I think when you get hit a certain age, you sort of start to feel a little bit invisible. And that's not a cliche. It is very, very true. And then we are going to live a lot longer. And there's sort of 40 years ahead. How am I going to fill that with some purpose? And so confidence is really what I brought back with me, and creativity for, a future.
So just to be clear, you're away from your family that whole time, or how did that work?
Yeah, OK, fine. So I did pop home because I had taken off. I've got a post office box and I'm not sure if I thought my husband was going to send me a postcard or something like that, but sent him an email and said I'll be back soon. And then I did come home to show everyone how to use the oven and the freezer. And that was great. Mum had made the offer. My husband was very relieved to realise that I wasn't necessarily running away from him. I just needed a breather. So there was no expensive divorce on the horizon.
Yeah, and what did that breather look like? Where did you travel to?
Right.
Where did you take yourself off to?
So I spent several months in Queensland just getting fit and feeling good and sleeping. And then I have family in Europe. I hadn't seen them since prior to COVID. So I headed off to Europe for a couple of weeks to see them and thought, no, I'm staying. I've never had a grown-ups gap year. I've never had any kind of gap year. I'm going to stay for a while. So I stayed and I had fun.
And what was the reaction of your family? Like, did they think mum's lost it or mum needs this?
No, look, when I got back and I retrospectively asked my sons, the eldest said, this is fantastic. You're showing us that you can go and live life and it's never too late. And then the youngest said you deserved it. So it was great.
Beautiful perspective.
It was wonderful.
Because this is the important thing. Very hard to do that if your kids are 8 and 10 years old. So how old were your children at that point?
Absolutely. They were at university.
Yeah.
And so I'm at pains to say none of this is happening when you have young children. You have it to look forward to.
Yeah.
But the message is put your own oxygen mask on first. The flight attendants say that for a reason, and I didn't do that for 20 years, and it's very hard when you're busy looking after everybody.
So not everyone, as you just pointed out there, can be in that position to actually take a year off and go to Europe.
Absolutely.
But what some small changes they can make in their life?
Absolutely. And it's a catchy title. I didn't disappear for a year. But the year was treating myself almost like a project. And that's what we can all start to do. And in fact, it started in my backyard. Go and find something novel to do every week. Tiny. I have a girlfriend who can't leave. She loves swimming. I said, go and try a different swimming pool every week within a radius of your home. You'll feel fresh. And she has. And she has a new community. Go for a walk around a different neighbourhood, find a cafe and sit there with a book. Just tiny things. Just go and feel fresh again.
And so you wrote the book, and this is it. It's a grown-ups gap year.
Yes.
What feedback have you heard from women who've read the book?
Look, they feel heard because, again, as I said previously, when you're tired, it's really, really hard to articulate what you need and what support you would like from people, and that offers it. So,
Wow.
so many of them have gone and done so many different things. They've retrained, they've started new careers. Yes, some of them have run away, but mostly they've looked at their long-term relationships as well and just thought, okay, fine, we can reinvigorate so many things around here, start with myself and go from there.
Wow. That's great. And it's not just for women, though. You've got some advice for blokes approaching that retirement?
I have a lot of advice for blokes. That's the next book, Dear Blokes. However, yes, because a lot of my husband's friends were a little bit perplexed. I mean, I was looking and feeling a lot better, and they could see that our relationship seemed a lot better as well, because, you know, when you feel good about yourself, everything looks better, including your husband, long-term mate. And so things like, I would suggest to men, you know, talk to your partner and say, you've been supporting us for many years, and this is making sweeping assumptions.
Yes,
Everyone's circumstances are completely different.
In your family, this was the case.
You know, how can I support you? And then when you start supporting each other and actually having a conversation, then it's amazing how things can look fresh. You know, long term doesn't need to look old. We don't live together all the time now. We live in different states quite often, and we travel solo. So I think it's about remembering the me in the we.
Yep, you found a bit of independence within that as well.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating.
It's great.
I'm buying this book and just going to leave it on the coffee table at home.
She's out.
I have copies.
Europe's calling me.
It's calling you.
Thank you. It's really, and it takes a lot of understanding on both sides of the relationship.
It does.
Obviously,
it does.
yeah.
But, you know, long-term relationships, you know, it's important to hang on to what you can. The love is there, but it can sometimes look a bit beige. It's what you can do to inject some excitement back in.
Advice. Thank you, Monique. Thanks for coming in. Of course, Monique van Tulder's book, A Grown-Up's Gap Year, is out now. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thank you both.
How interesting.